network. Here, this IP version for routing table, here second entry, it will tell us about the destination network IP address and the prefix. Here about the administrative distance, 3 and 4, and the metric. So the administrative distance, it defines the trustworthiness of the root source. يعني درجة الموثوقية. Okay. So this identifies the trustworthiness of the root source. Lower values of this value, 110, 70, 50, it means that this is better to choose as a preferred or a good path to forward the message through. Okay. And this identify the value assigned to reach this 50 identifies the value assigned to reach the remote network. This is the cost, as the metric could be the cost, hop count, or whatever. So lower values indicate preferred routes. This lower value and this lower value, it means that better than. So, for example, 10, 110, 50 is better than 230 and 80. Okay, and this one via, it means that the next hop device, which means this identifies the IP address of the next hop router, or could be maybe the LAN or something that should be forwarded. And this is the time span, and this is the outgoing interface of the router that we want to forward the message. So briefly summarize, okay, this is for the algorithm learning algorithm. From which algorithm we learn this information in the routing table? This is the network, the destination network address. This is the administrative and the metric distance, the administrative distance and the metric. So the lower values, it means that a better path should be chosen. This is the next hop that's linked to this interface. This is timestamp the time. And this is the outgoing interface. From which interface should we forward the message? It's almost the same in the IP version 6. Okay. Exit interface is the interface used to forward the message to the final destination. We will explain now what's a directly connected network. Directly connected network, whenever you configure a router with an interface and IP address and you make the interface up, this means that you are directly connected. So to learn about any remote networks, that means they are not directly linked or connected to the router. So in this case, to know about remote network, the router must have at least one interface configured with an IP address and subnet mask, prefix length. This is known as a directly connected or directly connected route. Why this is important? Because it should receive some information from other routers. So routers add a directly connected route to its routing table when an interface is configured with an IP address and is activated. So when here in this example, we have three here. Should we have three active interfaces? So we should have three directly connected networks here, okay? Okay, we're done here. So routers add a directly connected one, okay? A directly connected network is denoted by code C. C is for connected in the routing table. Whenever we see code, it means that directly connected. The root contains a network prefix and a prefix length, okay? Then the routing table also contains a local route for each of its directly connected networks indicated by the status of L. So for each connected network, we also have the L code because it's local route for this. It's by default. It means that whenever we create the directly connected this interface, it means that by default we will also create for each interface the the local route for each directly connected network. Okay. So for IP version local routes, the prefix is 32. You know this. And for IP version 6, it's the complete. The complete prefix length. And for IP version 6, it will be /128. It means that these are local routes. If we see this for IP version 4 and this for 128. So this means that the destination address of the packet must match all bits in this address correspond to network address correspond to IP version 4 and also to 128. Okay. The purpose of this local route is to efficiently determine when it receives a packet for the interface instead of a packet that needs to be forwarded. So we use this local address to know from the destination IP destination address within the packet to know that this packet is distant to this local device, to this router or to this LAN, for example. Okay. Static routes. What are the static routes? Static routes, after directly connected interfaces, when we configure them with IP and make the interface up. After that, these interfaces, directly connected interface, should be added to the routing table. So, and also if we configure statically a route, for example, this also should be added to the routing table, or also the routes that can be automatically and dynamically configured by the routing protocols should also be added to this routing table. Okay. So static routes are manually configured and they define an explicit path between two networking devices. We know device 1 is configured manually with this address. This device is also configured with this another address. So they are not updated by using dynamic routing protocols, or if some change in the network is changed, it means that they stay configured as them. But if we removed one from the devices that's configured statically, we should reconfigure them again. Okay. Manually. It's always the case manually. So they define an explicit between two networking devices. They are not automatically updated, so they don't depend on dynamic routing protocols to be updated and must be manually reconfigured if the network topology changes. So if something changes, we should reconfigure them by the network administrator and not by the dynamic routing protocols. So static routing has three primary uses. It provides ease of routing table maintenance. It's easy to maintain because it's for few devices in smaller networks that are not expected to grow significantly. So for small network, we can use static routing configurations. It uses a single default route to represent a path to any network that doesn't have a more specific match with another route on the routing table. So remember, if we don't have a match, we could use a default route, okay? And could be a manually configured route. So default routes are used to send the traffic to any destination beyond the next upstream router. Also, it routes to and from stop networks. So what's a stop network? So default routes can be used with stop networks. A stop network is a network accessed by a single route, and the router has only one neighbor. Single route and one. This is stop network. So the router has only one neighbor. You see, this PC is only one device connected, and also it's like line, okay? So accessed by a single route, and the router has only one neighbor. So this can be accessed by only one route. This is also can be accessed by only one route from this router. This router and this router can communicate by only one route, okay? So static routes in IP routing table. How can we do routing configurations using static routes? So this topology, it means that the topology in the figure is simplified to show only one LAN attached to each router. This LAN is attached only to this router, and this LAN is only attached to this router. So the figure shows IP version 4 and 6 static routes configured on R1 to reach the destination, this one. So, and this one using version 6. So how to configure that statically? At this router, we want to define or to configure that we should configure the destination this network via this router. So as we configuring static path between R1 and S, or this network via R2. In order to do that, we should execute this command. IP route, we should define, remember, we should define the destination network, which is this one. This is for IP route, where this is the destination, subnet mask for this address, and the next hop. So this one has next hop R2, which has 10.0.3.2, right? 10.0.3.2. So if we want to define configure static route from R1 to this network, we should add the destination network address with the default with the subnet mask. So this address is 10.0.4.0, the subnet mask, and the second next hop of this one. This is the next hop, this route. So it's 10.3.0.2. This is for IP version 4, and this is for IP version 6 here. So this is the destination